Hey friends, happy spring. It is, excuse me, June 14th, and I'm going to show you what's going on outside. The fires have mostly passed with the smoke damage. Sunday was still kind of a little rough, so I didn't spend a lot of time outside. But today we're supposed to have bad thunderstorms in the afternoon, so I figured I would cut some of my peonies before they get knocked down by the torrential rains. I'm praying for rain because we still really need it. We got one day of rain on, today's Wednesday, I think Monday night. But I am starting some of my melon seeds in paper towel and a Ziploc bag, hoping they germinate because, as you know, I germinated many of them multiple times. I think 4 different times. But I saw something exciting in the garden, so I'm going to take you out there to show you that one did germinate. So you can see that we have made some more progress out here with getting things planted. Still not everything is planted. We still have the tomatillos to plant, these tomatoes. Oh, that's good. This one, the top had come off, but it's shooting out new leaves. The basils have to get out. These are some ground cherries. It's a foxglove that got randomly put in there. Some vinca, the cosmos, and the zinnias, and I have more zinnias that I seeded. But these were saved from the compost. I don't know what they are. These are tomatoes. I thought they were melon, but they weren't. So that we're not going to be saving. But these, they're either squash, cucumber, or melon. I'm hoping melon because I had honeydew in there, and I was hoping that the compost would do the work for me, which is sadly what happened with my squash this year, is I got better germination from the squash. So you can see the medicinals are looking okay. Some of them do have a lot of bug damage, the valerian. Well, valerian, you know, the medicine is the root, but it's covered in aphids. And again, so bug pressure is going to be higher when you have a drought and high temperatures. But we did get the sweet potatoes planted. These actually need some water. It was supposed to rain last night into this morning, but it didn't. So some of this stuff is dry. And because I'm not sure if it's definitely going to rain, it says 100%, but I don't trust the weathermen. I do feel it in my body. But again, where I live on an island, it's hit or miss. So where I live on the north shore of the island, we could get nothing. And the south shore in the middle of the island could get tropical rainstorms. So we have been eating some peas, which is exciting. Here and there, some lettuce. Not great, but you know what? I'm grateful for what I can get. I got nothing out of the spinach before it bolted. You could see. The arugula, same thing. I got barely nothing out of it before it bolted. The feverfew, I actually cut down and harvested and dehydrated. I've actually been eating a leaf a day because I've been having migraines with this weather fluctuations. And you get used to the flavor of it. I have a tincture of it, but since it's growing, I'm just eating the leaf. We did have some squirrels eating some of our strawberries, but I'm getting about, I don't know, every other day I guess I get maybe a cup. I'm just seeing if this is pest, what that is. So in here I'd put some chamomile, some borage, some lemon balm was already in here. I put a ground cherry in here. I moved some of the winter sowing out, so this is some bergamot. And now this looks like self-heal, but I'm not sure how that got in there. It's kind of like random. So you can see we have the pine berries, so sometimes they're ripe and they're just white. And sometimes, like these I think are actually red ones. Oh, here's a good one. Oh, see, look, something got to it. It was a slug. So they have like pink dots on them. I'm not touching a slug. Sorry, guys. I don't like you that much. I like you, but nope. Slugs and stink bugs and earwigs. Earwig came in on the peony. Was not happy about it. I'm gonna have to check my kitchen when I get back. I'm still dealing with carpenter ants, so I did spread more diatomaceous earth, but I've been not putting it outside to respread it because it's gonna rain. And that defeats the whole purpose because it'll wash away. And then I'm just wasting diatomaceous earth. So you could see the pest damage. This one giant cabbage is growing very big, but a cabbage worm is in there, we think. My husband pulled one off. I haven't been in there to like see if I can find the other one, because again, I like my organic vegetables, but I don't need to find the worm. Like, I'm good on that. So I'm hoping we'll still get something out of that. I'm hoping we're gonna get some broccoli, but you could see in here all of the arugula has bolted. Oh, and there's pests on here too, on the oric, which is what I thought. I saw it when I was checking out the garden before, and there's aphid. Lovely. So I'm gonna pick that off because I don't want this on anything else that's in the garden. So I'm gonna try, because I already have so much bug pressure, and with the drought it just makes the bug pressure worse. The blueberries are looking good. We are hoping we came up with a new system to cover them this year. I've taken my mom, tried to get her sewing skills. I'm gonna drop it off today. So the layer of rocks has been completed, but still no soil. We did get this pot. We took the horseradishes that were out of those two terracotta pots over there. We put them together in this pot. We've got our peppers in the earth box. We've got some nata jalapenos and habanadas. I've never grown those before. This is our first year. I have grown regular jalapenos, but my husband doesn't like spicy. The dog likes spicy. I'm like, eh. Finally, the tomatoes are looking better. Finally. It's 2 weeks in. But the kabocha squash, which again had grown in the compost, I'm hoping it comes back. But this is the exciting. So I don't know what that is. If it's a watermelon, if it's a melon, I have no idea. I'm just happy that it grew. We actually had 100% germination on the trombosino seeds that we put in the ground. So this came from the compost. I got 5 out of the compost. This you could see is a tomato probably. And the only 2 survived from the compost, which is fine. I just needed 2, but then 2, oh, we have another germination here. Because we did put, that's interesting. So we put 2, I think we planted 2 in each hole. So 75% germination, because just 1 came up here. And then we have 2 here. This is from the compost. And now I don't think I can move them because I don't think they're going to want to be moved. So they're going to take over this whole trellis. So this, whatever this is, needs to be moved. And that squash might not live, the kabocha squash. I want to say kombucha, but it's not kombucha, it's kabocha. So if I say kombucha, don't shoot me, you know. I'm trying my best. Having a hard time this year. We're struggling. So, and the plants are struggling too. And I see that the pests are eating more of my plants. So this is a cabbage too. And I can see the damage is already happening, which is not great. That's a volunteer tomato. These are the tomatoes I actually cultivated, string beans, that I had given a haircut to, and then they were not happy. We've got some ground cherries in here. I did put a nasturtium in there. I put a curly parsley because the swallowtails like it. The rosemary, again, things that smell to deter pests. We've got chamomile I moved into here. These are some calendula volunteers. I leave them because, again, sometimes the pests go to them, but also they're medicine. So, and they bring pollinators. And here we've got some other tomatoes. Again, everything is kind of struggling. The onions are looking good this year, so that's going well. They're not yet ready, but they look like they're bulbing up nicely, hopefully. I only had 2 that went to flower, and I hopefully snapped them off before they penetrated the bulb. But this is only my 2nd year growing onions. You could see there's garlic escapes on some of those garlic that I did not. Here's one here too. I had harvested a bunch of it, I guess 2 weeks ago, and also the chive flowers, and I put that in apple cider vinegar, and I make a 4th use vinegar with that. I use a salad dressing. So you can see the tomatoes are doing a bit better. They're finally like happy, acclimating. This is another volunteer tomato here, so we have no idea what it is. This is a volunteer cucumber squash plant. Time will tell. This is our happiest tomato. It is a volunteer. It planted itself, it seeded itself, and it looks the best of anything that I actually grew from seed. I think the issue for me this year, it was cold. The grow lights were not in the right position. I used an organic sterile seeding mix blend, and I think the plants just didn't like it. So this is where we moved more of the sweet potato slips that came in the mail. They perked back a bit. We've got a sunflower here, Armenian cucumber. I believe that's a silver slicer. I'm not sure what that is, or this one. And there's an Arkansas, and this is a pickling cuke that I bought from a friend. So we don't know what everything is. It will be kind of a surprise. I'm not a fan of that, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. So it is what it is. But you can see here, this is the one area I really have not gotten to. It's really bad with ticks over here, and so I'm just not wanting to be in here. Every day we're picking ticks off the dog and my husband, and I've lived with tick disease, tick-borne illness, tick disease for so long. And I'm having a rough time the last few months. I just don't want any more problems. So I'm trying to be really cautious and mindful. I mean, I was in the grass with my husband on Saturday or Sunday, and there was ticks just crawling right in front of us on the tarp. So this is the St. John's wort. It's getting ready to bloom, but you could see this honeysuckle, again, covered with pests. Again, another year. I did not treat it with the homeopathic. I'm just really frustrated this year, and I'm going to treat it. They're going to come right back because we're not getting rain, and the weather is really wacky with fluctuations. I really don't know what each day is going to hold. I've never really trusted the weather people. I certainly don't trust them now because you compare different weather apps and they all say something different. So, no thank you. I'll just look outside. I'll go outside and see what it's like. So you could see some lilies here blooming. The other lilies are getting ready to bloom. You can hear the birds. Bee and I sat outside here yesterday, just listening to the birds. There is a bird's nest in my rose bush in the front, so I could not trim it. I did plant some things out here yesterday. So we've got a datura vine, a moonflower vine. I know that this is quote-unquote poisonous, but in small doses it is also medicinal, and I'm all about that. So I've got marigolds, I've got a sunflower. I left this spot open for the melons. Hopefully, we've got our squash in the ground. They are struggling a bit. I put a citronella in the ground, again, because we sit here, so that helps with the bugs, but also because smelly things are less likely to go after. They're to just track the bunnies and critters, but you can only do so much. So time will tell. But I got the other sunflower in, the rest of the marigolds. These squash, I'm hoping that they're okay. We actually have something else coming up in this one. Again, I have no idea what it is because I did not properly label my squash this year. I believe those are all summer squash. It could be a winter squash thrown in, but I believe I planted all summer squash. Only winter squash was the kabocha, which again, the compost germinated. But look at these pea pods. Look how we missed a bunch of them. Look how big they are. So Bee will come out here and she'll look at me and she'll look at them like, start feeding me. I'm good. I'm hoping that we're going to get this rugosa rose moves over there somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. This is the American elderberry I had dug up a month ago. It's looking really well. We've got blooms on the blackberry. The cilantro and the dill went to seed. Again, we've got some pest problems, probably potato beetles on the potatoes. We've got some fungus. And it's just a lot. And I don't know what to do because every time I do something, I'm dealing with something else. So you can see there's some pest damage on these sweet potatoes. But look, there's some strawberries. If the squirrels don't get it, we should get those. Or we will probably eat them before I get them. But I think that was all I wanted to show you guys. There is a lot of progress. There's still a lot that needs to be done. We were hoping to see the hummingbird yesterday. I did hear them, but I did not get to see them. I did actually pot up. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. So I took, the rugosa had some runners that had roots on it. So I potted 2 of them up. So that's 2 free plants because that was an expensive plant. I think that rosebush was $50 in a, I think it was a 1-gallon pot. It was $50. So yeah, if I can get free plants from it, I'm gonna get free plants from it. But you can see how big the American elderberry has gotten. I don't know, it's like 9 feet tall right now, maybe 10 feet tall. We have mulberries on the mulberry tree, but the cardinals have been stripping them. They're not even ripe yet and they're stripping them. Spirea is very happy. But look at, the poppy is done. I'm just seeing what kind of pest damage is over here. The milkweed looks good. So I'm not seeing those beetles that usually eat the milkweed yet. So fingers crossed, that's good. And then these are the strawberry cup, I think, lilies. They're the mini, the pixies. But we've got some raspberries started. Whatever the birds leave, maybe we'll have raspberries this year. They're ripe when they're black. They're the wild ones. We'll see. Time will tell. The elderberries, the pollination wasn't so great, so I don't think we're going to get that many this year, which is disappointing. But again, I don't really have control over this. You could see whatever was pollinated will form a berry. Whatever is not pollinated will not. And because the elderberry bloomed early this year and we've not had a lot of bees, so you could see this one bloomed first and how they're bigger. But you can see how many are missing. And again, drought, weather fluctuations, all plays a role. But you can see we will have some. That one has pretty good. And that one has pretty good. But again, whatever I can get, I'll be grateful. That's the name of the game. I'll just be grateful for whatever I can get from the garden this year. And I'm not going to drive myself crazy about the pests. I'm not going to drive myself crazy about the drought. I'm not going to drive myself crazy about all the things I don't have control over, which is easier said than done. But I'm just going to remember that plants like to grow, that Mother Nature is resilient, and that I will be provided for. Maybe differently than I think, but maybe differently than I planned. But that's the beauty in it. So signing off, pray for rain, and I will see you soon.